after being set upon on the Sea of Swords, so you guys left Waterdeep on the Brazen Pegasus, which is a small sloop out of Port Nyanzaru, the captain of which is an old friend of Samura. You guys left Waterdeep on the Brazen Pegasus, and they'd agree, owing Samura a favor, which, after quite a while, a few months, you're finally calling in Samura. They're kind of swinging by Baldur's Gate on their way back to Port Nyanzaru, just to kind of drop you guys off in Baldur's Gate, where your destination is. You're about a little bit over a month out from the wedding still, so you've still got some time in between where you're at now and the wedding. So it was a pretty peaceful journey up until the fourth day. On the fifth day, you would have been arriving at Baldur's Gate, or you will be arriving at Baldur's Gate, but on the fourth day you were set upon by Sahuagins, which are these aquatic, orange and green skinned sea folk who kind of rove in tribes. They worship this dark shark god, not too dissimilar from the Merrow you fought in the sea, the Dragonmere, in between Westgate and Suzale, although they were more mermaid-ish, with like their fish-like tails. These Sahuagins were, arms, legs, the whole shebang, but with more fishy qualities. Samurai, you got the opportunity to show off some of your new spells. Anya, you got the chance to, put some of your spells to use as well. The phantasmal presence, and Eartha, after being engaged in a melee with one of the barons, which are the stronger leaders of the Sahuagins with 4 arms, you managed to take out one of those before a second faction of the raiding party boarded the ship, and a second baron tackled you into the water, where you were very quickly set upon by the sharks that accompany the Sahuagin raiding parties, in which you lost your left arm in the, it's not clean, you've healed it over now, but it's probably like halfway up here, up to here, like the arm has been torn, you've healed it over with magic. There is still there's still sensation, like phantom sensation, like you still feel at times, like you can feel the muscle and the movement in an arm that isn't there. But yeah, after, being submerged in this cloud of blood and viscera from your arm being torn off by the sharks, you were rescued by Greg, the first mate of the Brazen Pegasus, using your own magic, your healing magic, to heal the wound, so you weren't bleeding out or anything. You've now got a stub of a left arm, and I believe that night or the next morning, I think probably that night, you contacted a former acquaintance of yours, Abbott, who was an artificer in Baldur's Gate, who you'd met at the masquerade party at Eomain House. And being an artificer, one day you'd went to visit him at one of the Tinkerer's workshops, and you'd seen he'd been working on a mechanical arm, a device which he referred to as the clockwork arm. And you'd kind of asked if you could have it. You'd asked if he'd have it ready for you, and he'd agreed to attune, to bond this prosthetic limb, this clockwork arm, to your physiology when you arrived in Baldur's Gate. So fast forwarding, through that night, and if there is, I am going to fast forward a bit. If there's anything you want to go like pause, can I cast sending? Can I do this? Can I talk to this person? Feel free to just shout out. That's fine. So fast forwarding through that night, you guys recover from the attack from the Sahuagin raiding parties. You raise the anchor, continue your course for a bit through the night, and you're sailing for a decent part of the 5th day. You arrive in Baldur's Gate shortly before sunset. The sky has kind of faded into that nice orangey purple. That's kind of where it's at a few hours before you dock in Baldur's Gate, but as you actually get close into the city, much like the first time, much like the night that you had all met, clouds begin to roll in, dark clouds, rain begins to fall, and the cobbles of Baldur's Gate become slick with a not super heavy, but a pretty heavy deluge of rain. Planning on just staying on the ship anyway. The crew of the Brazen Pegasus will stay behind. You guys, now that it's both nighttime, the weather has turned foul, and both being a place that you are familiar with, and a place that is quite close by. Say if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming you might want to go to the Elfsong Tavern, and maybe just have Abbott meet you there, if that sounds agreeable.
I mean, I was just going to go and meet him the day after. Just like...
I think you probably get the sense he's more of the opinion it should be done quickly, maybe.
If he wants to meet us there, he can.
So we'll say, you guys make your way towards the Elfsong Tavern, and we'll say yes. We'll say Abbott is planning on meeting you there as well. You might have communicated that in your original message, or had more communications in between then and now. So by the time the ship is docked in the harbour, Captain Automay and the crew kind of pay the taxes to the dock wardens and pay their dues and blah blah blah. And you guys are free to leave and go into the city. The sun has set.
Can I try and overhear how much the fee would be, just as like a rough estimate?
Yeah, sure. Let me get you the actual number.
Depending on how much it is, depends on how generous I feel, personally. If it's 10 grand, I ain't helping.
It won't be anything like that.
I didn't think it would.
It is...
I don't see it being more than like a couple hundred.
Should be able to find it, but now that I've said that, probably not. It's never where you remember it being. So just for the sake of moving things along, I will quickly Google it to see if anything comes up, and if nothing comes up, I will give you docking fee Baldur's Gate. Yeah, it's not coming up. It's not a lot. We're talking like a few dozen gold pieces at most, probably.
Right. I'll leave 20 gold on Captain Automay's desk.
Sure. Yeah.
With a little note saying ship it like parking fee or whatever they'd call it.
Sure. Yeah. You leave. Yeah. Sure. So you leave 20 gold just to put towards the.
Yeah. And
the
she
docking
can find
fee.
that later.
Yeah. And you say some hasty goodbyes as they hunker down for a night on the ship below decks, and you guys head to the Elfsong Tavern. Much paralleling the night you all met in Baldur's Gate. Not super thick. Again, like it's not a heavy downpour. It's a light rain, and a light fog has rolled in, and the green lanterns that line Baldur's Gate's streets kind of erupt to life as night falls. And you find the Elfsong Tavern much as you remember it. As you enter, you see it's a bit busier than how you remember it. You know, the times you'd been here, there'd been little more than you guys there, but you see there are about 3 or 4 parties of people, you know, ranging from 2 people a pair to like 5 or 6 people, you know, scattered about. So as you emerge into the front door, you know, you very quickly see Plank, the animated armor, which inspired you, Samura, to find more out about how you would get one of your own, which, you know, became Jade thanks to Rivelin. And you see Schooner, the half ogre bouncer. They are the 2 bouncers of the Elf Song Tavern, more there to protect the staff than the clientele. And along the left of the tavern are some kind of private booths, whereas at the back there is the bar and the kitchen behind it. Off in the other directions there are doors to like actual private rooms, you know, lounges, and a staircase that goes up to the 2nd floor. But otherwise, the rest is, there's a fireplace also in the top corner, but the rest is, you know, an open tap room with tables and chairs. And yeah, you know, quite lively, not super lively, but, you know, some people have clearly just come in to get out of the rain. Some people might be staying the night, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, groups of colourful people scattered around. Clank, obviously being animated armor, doesn't pay much mind to you except for like a courteous like wave, which, you know, probably programmed to do more than anything.
I go to wave with my left hand and just kind of like throw a stump.
Sure. Schooner, kind of not remembering you at first, kind of doesn't really pay much attention, and as you guys have walked past, you kind of begin, you see she's kind of doing some math in her head, where you see she might be remembering who you are slightly. And yeah, you know, Eartha, you've probably got some sort of cloak covering the stump more than anything, just not to draw attention. And yeah, you know, just to keep out the rain as well, you've all probably got cloaks of some kind on, covering your clothes and your hair. And yeah, as you emerge, you know, you can take those down. The rainwater falls to the ground below you. And yeah, you see Abbott, the half-elf artificer, kind of what would be long brown hair, is done up into a kind of a bun at the back of his head, you know, half-elf pointed ears, pretty sharp jaw, a little bit of stubble, and large circular glasses. And you can see, like, strung over his back, he has the clockwork arm attached to a satchel, and his own cloak kind of draped below that. He is at the bar currently, talking with also a half-elf, Alan Alith, who is much older, half-elf, kind of similar looking, but with, like, instead of his hair being in a bun, it's kind of free-falling and grey. He's in, like, his 70s, but because he's got some of that elven blood, he kind of looks like a human man would in his 40s, but, you know, he's getting on decently. And they are kind of currently talking, and Alon is the bartender, the owner, the proprietor of the Elf Song Tavern. Yeah, they seem to be talking, and as you enter, Alon kind of recognizes you from a distance and kind of just not like a wave, but just like raises a hand, calls you over, and Abbott kind of turns, like, finishes his drink and turns around to see you as well. And yeah, so you guys are in the Elf Song Tavern with Abbott and Alon. And yeah, so as you guys approach, Abbott kind of swings his satchel forward, and the clockwork arm kind of jostles, and he detaches it, and he's like, he kind of looks you over, pushes your cloak back, and he says, "Yeah, I think I can work with this. Alon, would you mind if we took one of the private rooms?" And Alon is kind of like, "Oh, it's good to see all of you again. If you want any drinks, take them." Yes.
Can I have a roll rum, please?
Classic Samurai, a virgin roll rum? Or...
I'll nod my head excitedly.
And Anya.
Anything strong, please.
Non-virgin.
Alcoholic phase involved.
It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
He says, "I'll have them brought to you. The displacer beast room is free, Abbott." And Abbott is like, "Thank you, sir. Okay, this way." And he kind of drags you to the room behind the fireplace. Next to the fireplace, there is a door, and when you go in, you're in like a private lounge room. And the back of the backed cobblestone. The cobblestone back of the fireplace kind of emerges into the wall of this room, kind of breaking up the wall from being wooden to a bit of cobblestone, and windows to the outside. But otherwise, it's just kind of a private. It's a large round table with six wooden stools and the head of a displacer beast on the wall. And yeah, he kind of. As he emerges, he kind of rushes straight over to the table, kind of takes off his satchel, puts it down on the table, takes off his cloak, and you can see underneath he's got kind of like a ragged dress shirt, kind of a yellowed white, with like a brown vest over, and he puts on some leather working gloves. As he kind of like puts two of the stools together, and he kind of puts a cushion on one, and he's like, "Please, Arthur, just sit there." And he kind of, as you, presuming you sit, as you sit there, he kind of molds you and pushes you and models you into the right position that he needs. And he kind of puts your left stump over the table. And as he kind of pushes up your shirt, you probably haven't had your armor on today, because obviously there would just be like this vacuous space in the left side of the armor. So you're probably just wearing like your traveling attire. So he rolls up the sleeve as far as it will go, and then pushes it up to the top of the arm, to the top of the shoulder, to inspect it properly. At which point, he puts on these bifocals with many different like lenses that of different colored glass and of different magnifying specifications. At which point he examines. He starts examining your stub, and as he's doing that, he's he's just looking at the stub, but he kind of says like, "So, how has everyone been?" And he's kind of tapping it, seeing if you have any sensation. If any, whoever would like to answer may answer.
Well, I'm still alive. Mostly.
Yes, and what exactly happened here?
Shot.
And your fancy magic and your fancy sword wasn't enough, was it?
I got caught off guard. Very off guard.
Okay, and he kind of clamps the clockwork arm down on the table, and at this point, you get a good view of it. It doesn't look anything like, a prosthetic limb in our world, where that would mimic like the skin tone and the proportions of a person's arm. This prosthetic limb is very kind of steampunk. It's made of like a golden brass. Instead of having like one solid tube, it's got like 3 integral pipes that meet the hand portion, and you can really see like the joints in each finger and at the wrist, and the same at the elbow and up here, and there's various joints that go all the way along, and yeah, it's very hollow and thin looking. Not nearly as bulky as a regular human arm. More made of like pipes and gears and cogs and joints. And again of this kind of golden brass color. I have to warn you, it'll be a painful procedure. Are you sure you want to go ahead? It looks like you've healed it with your magic perfectly fine. Are you sure you want the arm?
I can't really fight with 2 hands without 2 hands.
If you're positive. And he kind of drags the limb forward, and you can see at the top of the clockwork arm, it kind of has a circular bit of metal, kind of a donut-shaped bit of metal, with smaller holes in it, where you can see there are pins, holes for kind of pins, screws that will be bolted into your stub. So it will be a mixture of mechanical and magical procedure that join the clockwork arm to your stub. And he kind of whips out a tape measure, and he's measuring the evenness of your stub, kind of how the bone affects the topography of the skin there. Well, if you're sure you want to go ahead, you will have to concentrate on the item constantly. In game terms, that means it will permanently fill one of your attunement slots, one of your 3 attunement slots.
Good thing I've got 1 free.
Okay. Okay. This will take several hours. It will.
Wait, hold up. Before we start, how much is it going to cost me? Because this can't be free.
Well, in all honesty, and I'm not saying this for you to change your mind, I've had trouble finding anyone who's willing to use it because of the, most people I meet that are missing an arm, they decide they've had enough of, fighting whatever made them lose the arm. But if you're willing to try it, give me feedback, then you'd actually be doing me a favor more than anything.
At this point, I'm just gonna head down to the bar, which is...
Sure. And he actually does, as he's kind of, holding your arm up and kind of just tapping it against the end, he looks over at you, Anya, and he actually goes like, "This won't be pretty. You can stay. I'm perfectly comfortable with you watching. I don't know about Eartha, but if you're not a fan of gore, I wouldn't." Now you want to stay?
No. I was gonna say as I get to the door, I'll cast silence over them, but I don't have the spell, so never mind.
Probably a good
Samura thinking about casting silence over them. And yeah, otherwise he's going to get to work on his preparations. But yeah, Samura, you go out and you meet Alan halfway. Tea towel kind of draped over his shoulder, carrying a drinks board with 3 drinks on it. The roll rums, how you remember them, small kind of whiskey glasses with a very flavorful drink inside, a few cubes of ice, sugar on the rim, a mint leaf dosed in the drink.
Can I offer to work tonight?
Say again, sorry?
Can I offer to work for free for this day? Just like while Ellis is getting his arm done, just be like, "Do you want some help? I'm not doing anything."
Sure. I mean, we'll play that out. As you're walking across the tap room, Alon kind of like shimmies out from behind the bar, and he's walking towards you, and he's like, "Oh, I've got your drinks here. No need to come out." And he hands you your virgin roll rum, Samura. Where are the others still in the lounge?
Yeah, but apparently it's gonna take a while. So honestly, I'm not doing anything today. Well, not until they're finished with that, anyways. Do you want some help? Free of charge. If you want, you make the drinks and I can serve them.
That would actually be perfect. Fulton is in, but Yimior is sick, so that would be very appreciated, Samura. And he kind of hands you the drinks plate, and he's like, "You can begin there, and then come and see me when you're finished."
Yeah, I'll start doing that.
Very good. And he returns to the bar. Yeah, so you come back in, and Abed explains he's probably going to be in like the preparation phase, making sure he calibrates the arm correctly for like about an hour anyway. Like he's not actually going to start the bonding procedure until, for a little bit. So yeah, Samurai, you come back in, you put the drinks down, and yeah, is there anything else you want to do in here, or do you want to literally just go
back to serving drinks?
Fair enough. Anya, is there anything you'd like to do while this is going on, or are you just kind of watching?
I'll be sat watching. but
Be good for you.
I'll probably just go downstairs and sit at the bar area.
It's good to be
As
good
I
for your
leave-
music. You could put this
What?
in a song.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
As I leave, can I turn and just go like, well, guys, looks like I got myself a job. Doesn't pay very well though, because I'm doing it for free.
And whose fault was that? Did you offer to do it for free?
I'll shut the door.
Runs away.
Could have at least asked for a room for the night.
I'll pay for the room.
So yeah, you return to the bar. You see a table at one of the central tables. You see there's some kind of mercenaries, adventuring group, something like that. A tiefling, 2 humans, a half elf, and a halfling, all kind of sitting around one of the round tables, drinking pretty heavily. And as they see you going back and forth a bit, the halfling kind of like try to get to your attention, and he's like, "Can we have 3 whiskeys, please?"
Yes, of course. And I'll head to the bar and tell him.
Alon is like, 3 whiskeys, very good. Okay. And he kind of looks over at the table and he's like, "All right, fill one." And he kind of begins preparing the drinks, kind of sensing, knowing their order, knowing there's a little bit more to their order that they didn't feel the need to mention. And yeah, he just kind of strikes up conversation with you as he's making the drinks. He's like, "So, how have you been? We didn't get much of a chance to talk. It seems your friend needed to speak to Abbott. How has the road been?"
Yes, it was exciting to say the least. I found my father, dealt with that. Nice man, turns out. Fought a couple
Wonderful.
dragons. Kind of watched 2 dragons fight each other. Stopped the cult of the dragon from taking over the entirety of Suzail. I mean, they probably wouldn't have succeeded, but we just made the job a bit quicker.
Been far and wide. It's very impressive.
Urfa owns some of the I don't know what that place is called. I can't remember what he's got stake in.
Colosseum.
That Colosseum.
I want you to say that. I got on something.
There's this Colosseum in Westgate he has stake in nowadays.
Oh, the quivering thumb. I've heard tales of such. Wow. Well, it seems you've been very far since we last.
As he's like mid-sentence, kind of like, oh yeah, we were just there, and we know that Iron Golem giant thing which broke out the city.
Yes, there's still a bounty on it.
It was. Oh, really?
It was like a terrorist attack. Yes, there's still a bounty
The
on it.
quivering thumb caught it, and us 3 fought it in a duel and won. It's dead.
Would you have any proof?
Yeah, well, I can get letter from the quivering thumb. Urfa's got stake in it.
So does Anya.
So, if you can get proof, you might be able to claim some of the bounty. I don't know how much. I don't know what they consider as proof, but I would try and get the bounty. Well, it's very impressive. It's a shame we couldn't stop it at the time, but better late than never. Well, and he slides the 3 whiskeys out towards you. You know where they're going better than me, so.
I'll go.
Yep. Yeah, so back in the Displacer Beast room, after some time's gone by, Abbott kind of begins to like, okay, so is there anything you do for pain management? Do you want a bit of wood to bite? Do you want magic? How do you want to do this? I can go get some alchemical supplies if you want pain dosed. It shouldn't be the worst pain in the world. It shouldn't hurt as much as losing the arm, but it'll hurt.
Nah, fuck it, just go for it.
Okay. You see at this point he's kind of beginning to sweat a lot along the brow, as he's got 6 individual bolts that are going to go into the stump from the arm. He kind of gets out some of it, like this pouch that rolls out and it has a bunch of artificery tools in sleeves, and he kind of brushes his hair back and kind of tightens up the knot a bit. Okay, well, Eartha, make, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna let you decide. Would you rather make, actually, no, that's stupid. Just make a Constitution check with disadvantage.
I was trying to figure out which number was higher or lower, but it's 15.
15 altogether, yeah?
Yes.
Right, so, lining up, he kind of has you stand so that your stump in the kind of the little alcove at the top of the clockwork arm is kind of, so the hand of the clockwork arm is kind of splayed out on the table. And he kind of has you lean on it so your arm is in the right position. And he assures you, no matter like how it's bolted in, every part of the arm is dynamic. So once it's attached to you, all your fingers can bend back like that. Like, it's all completely flexible, it moves. So it's really just the bolting in that needs to be done correctly. And, he kind of positions himself correctly. And he kind of like acupuncture, kind of these bolts that kind of begin as needles. They're not super long, probably about like that long. They kind of begin as these kind of sharper needles that kind of become bolts at the end. And he kind of positions them, all 6 of them, with the acupuncture part, the very thin parts that, there's kind of like a sharp pain, but very easy to withstand. And then, one by one, he begins to drill them in, fix them into the arm. And these are enchanted bolts, and as they kind of fit in, you feel like a jolt of that phantom sensation. And after each bolt goes in, some of the fingers kind of jolt a bit as you temporarily gain control over them. And yeah, it hurts a lot. Like you said, nowhere near as much as the shark ripping the arm off, but it hurts a lot. You manage to stifle any screams from being audible outside of this room, in the tap room or anything, but definitely if you like and he kind of as he does the first one, and you have that initial, he's like, would you prefer I do it quickly, or would you like time in between?
Just do it quickly.
Okay. And he kind of, using his magical artificing tools, they kind of every few seconds another sharp pain as all the fingers and the hand begin to like kind of spasm below you, and by the time it's finished, the hand falls limp, and you don't feel any control over it. He just, he's like, okay, you'll need to spend some time with it, attune to it, but after that it should be fine. Okay. And he kind of has you stand, and the arm hangs limp. So again, so now about halfway from here, about from this point on, the clockwork arm pushes out from your stump here. And yeah, so he's going to stay with you for the next few hours until it's attuned. So about 3 hours. So probably by the time the arm is fixed and Samura's been working for about an hour, probably about like 7:30, 8 p.m, something like that. So he's going to stay with you until 11ish, and kind of show you some of its features, blah blah blah, but make sure it's attuned and it's bonded properly to your physiology, and make sure he's done the calibrations correctly. Yeah, so Eartha and Anya, is there anything you want to do in that time? Any conversations you want to have with anyone, or are you just kind of, talking amongst yourselves while that short rest's happening?
I want to show Abbott Bowman.
Oh yeah, sure. So once that's done, Abbott kind of crashes back into a stool, and he's like, whew, okay, wow. So, I suppose we have more time to talk now. How is everything? Anything more exciting than losing an arm yesterday?
I've been taking a few things from your books. crafting a few things here and there, you would say. And I'll pull out Omen and I slide it across the table for him to have a look at it. Not quite as...
Is Omen the handgun?
Yeah. I'll show him Echo in a minute. I'll be like, it's not quite as fancy as yours, not magical, just straight gunpowder.
Spins across the table and he kind of catches it and picks it up. Wow, this is actually very impressive. You built this yourself? You designed this?
No. I'll pull out the drawings that I was given as well. It's like, these were left for me in Suzel. I think it was like 100 years ago, they said, which I think's a bit odd.
He grabs it and pulls it across the table, like palm open. 100 years ago. This is incredibly advanced. 100 years.
I had to figure out how to put it together first, obviously, because the instructions were all over the place.
Yes.
He also taught me how to make this one, and I'll pass over Echo, which I haven't actually shot yet, so I don't know if it works.
Sure. I will actually say, with Echo. So Echo is the size of a musket. Yeah. But part of the design, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not. Part of the design is built with these 2 interlocking hinges. So essentially, you have like the first half of the gun is like, the barrel, which is quite a chunky barrel, and then the second half of the gun is like the stock and the trigger. It like breaks in half. You can unbolt it and fold it in on itself, so it's much easier to carry. And yeah, so you bolt it in and put that on the table, and he kind of drags it over as well, kind of turns over the schematics, and he's like, these are incredible. They were left for you, where you weren't born 100 years ago, presumably.
That's what I thought, but they were left at one of the hotels, the Adventuring Guild in Suzel. They said it was some form of, like, they thought it was a joke that someone said, leave this for this person coming, and it just happened to be my name.
It's very interesting. Would you mind if... Are you finished with the schematics?
Oh, by all means, you can keep them. I'm done with them for now.
Kind of pulls them across, and he takes what he looks down Echo's barrel and kind of spins it to the stock, and admires it, pushes it back, and has one more look at Omen, where he kind of kicks back and kind of pushes up the different bits of the bifocal so you can see clearly. And he kind of sits back with it, and he's like, very interesting. Who left it for you? Did you know?
Do I know? Don't think I do.
Oh.
Actually, I think I
now
did.
We're in a classic situation of, do I know something and I didn't tell you, or...
I don't think we found out who.
No, I think we'd... Yeah, let me just find where we actually went and got the schematics.
I'm pretty sure you did. It was very quick, though, so you might not have it written down, but I think if I told you, you would remember. But then I'm like, but did I?
Was it a Red Knight person?
It was a Red Knight person.
Yeah.
Ah, right, okay. Let us say how to make that.
I mean, the fact we know it's a Red Knight person surely means there was something we found out.
Lord Ronald Bloodhawk.
I don't think Ronald is right, but yes,
Ron
it was.
Ron.
Yes, I think it was Ron Law. It was a dumb fantasy.
Yeah.
Lord
Ron
Law. It was left at the Adventuring Academy by Caitlin's father, who you currently know as the kind of the Pope of the Red Knight religion, and avatar of the Red Knight in her time. Her father is the one that I'm pretty sure his father left the schematics there. Yeah, for you apparently.
Yeah, that's him.
Well, that's very weird. That's really weird.
That's what I thought.
I
I'm
mean,
not complaining.
impressive though, and he kind of folds it in half and thank you. I will pore over these and see if there's any other applications. And he kind of tucks it into his breast pocket behind his vest. Wow. Well, very interesting. And is there any more, or was it just for these?
Just for them for now, I think. I haven't found anything else. Haven't come across any hidden letters.
Very, very fascinating. We'll cut over to Samura. Samura, for about... Actually, make a perception check.
Am I using my eyes?
Yes.
Natural 1. I don't have eyes.
Oh, does that not give... If that doesn't give you advantage, you would have advantage. I thought that gave you advantage.
Oh, no, it gives me a +2. That's it.
Oh. Well, I'll say you have advantage.
That's 17.
17. Yeah, you notice, for a little while, from about, like... From about, like, 8:30 onwards, for every, like, 5 to 10 minutes or so, you notice Alon keeps checking, like, a timepiece, like a pocket watch, keeps checking it, seeing what time it is, and you notice kind of, like, as it gets closer to, like, 9-ish, he's checking it more frequently, and, you know, assuming you don't say anything before 9, at 9, he's like, Samura, would you do me a favor? And he kind of, you see one of the chefs, a halfling, has brought a tray of food out of the kitchen, and he's like, would you mind taking this upstairs and leaving it in front of the, I'm gonna say, the room next door to the ones you and Mr. Arthur stayed in last time. And, you know, you would know which room he means, I'll say. Just knock on the door, leave the food, and then head back down.
Oh, I could do something here, but I'm gonna do it the safe way. I'll turn to him and I'll go, yes, of course. And I'll kind of like lean on the counter a bit and lower my voice. But what's the worry?
The worry?
I'll do a motion with my hand. Don't even say anything. The motion of just flipping a stopwatch type of thing. Like a whatever the thing he has. As if I was checking it myself.
He grabs his timepiece and he's like, I was just making sure I got the time right. The guest eats at 9.
Look, I won't pry, but you seem anxious and you have 3 very talented people in the next room.
No, it's nothing like that. I appreciate your offer, but it's just a prized guest. Just want to make sure they don't have any complaints. And they're very private. If you just knock on the door.
As long as you're safe, and I'll take the plate upstairs. But
he pushes it forward and he kind of taps you on the shoulder. He's like, "You're a good boy, Samura."
I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna leave. So, if I remember rightly, the upstairs is basically a corridor with doors either side, and at the end of the corridor, it's a window.
No, that was Blaze House in Westgate. Let me,
basically,
for once,
if there's anything I can put Aber on, where he's not in blatant view, to see who comes to get the food.
Just put him into a spider form and have him like on the roof.
That'll take an hour.
Oh, is he a frog?
Yeah, he's a frog right now.
Put
I don't want to cheat.
Just put him in the corner somewhere.
I'm just sending you, just because, I have it, so I might as well. I'm just sending you all on Messenger the layout of the Elf Song Tavern, and I'll describe, and you can better picture the tavern, what I'm talking about. Okay, there we go. So the picture to the left is the ground floor. You can see at the bottom the main entrance, and then opposite that the bar. So kind of like the top right, the very top is the kitchen. The top right, you can see like a fireplace, and behind that room is the room Eartha and Anya and Abbott are in. Near the fireplace, there is a staircase that goes up. So the second picture to the right is the upstairs. So the 3 rooms at the top, you can see there's one big one and 2 small ones. The 2 small ones are the ones that... Actually, no, I'm pretty sure Samura and Anya stayed in the small ones. And I think Eartha stayed in the big one at the bottom because he'd done something in the fight and you guys were like, no, you take the big room, I think.
I think he got hit a lot, so we're just like, you get the
Yeah.
rest.
So when I said Eartha and Samura before, I meant you and Anya. So you and Anya had E12, the 2 rooms labeled E12. He wants you to put the tray in front of E11, knock on the door, and then walk away.
Yes. So I presume is that 2 tables in the middle of E7?
Yeah, they're like 2 dining tables.
Yeah, and that's obviously a big open room. So I'm gonna put Abba,
Yes.
like
Every square is
on
5 feet.
Yeah, on one of the chairs, but the chair tucked under the table. So
Okay,
she's pretty
yeah.
hidden. And then put the food down, walk down the stairs, kind of lean against the wall, and look through Abba's eyes.
Okay, no worries. You go up, you put the tray down, you knock on the door.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So, he gives you this tray of cooked fish, looks like knucklehead trout, which are found commonly in Icewind Dale. They're very popular along the Sword Coast, so they're a big export from the far north in Icewind Dale, with some, light veggies and stuff. And on the side, there is just a drink, a glass of water. I'm also finding what I need. And I can't make up much more about a glass of water than it's a glass of water.
It's got some minerals in it. It's mineral water.
But it's real tasty. Okay, here we go.
It's like the ocean, but not salty.
Cool. So you put the tray down, so this wooden tray, plate on, knucklehead trout, and some, fried veggies, and a glass of water. You knock on the door. Abba hops under, so just on the floor, like kind of tucked under a stool, underneath
on a chair,
table.
But the chair,
underneath the table.
Yeah, on a chair under the table.
Cool. And then you head down the staircase, but like halfway down, so you can't be seen below and above. You just kind of lean against the wall and look through Abba's eyes, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Make a stealth check with Abba with advantage and like +5, just because it's really good chances.
Okay. D&D frog. I got a 5, and let's roll again. That's another 5, so it's +5 plus Abba's plus, correct?
Yes.
It's +8, so that's 13.
13. Okay. Okay. You head down the stairs, lean against the wall. Your eyes turn like cloudy, milky white as you peer through Abba's froggy eyes. You see, after enough time has passed, after like any motion, any footsteps or anything, your footsteps, you hear like the key being turned behind the door, and the door unlock, and the door kind of cracks open. Doesn't crack open very wide, and you don't see much more, but you see just one blue arm reach out grab the side of the tray and pull it in, and the door closes and locks again.
Would I recognize it as a doppelganger? If it is
Make
one.
an intelligence check with advantage.
Oh no, it's our friend who's still alive.
19 or maybe 20. 19 or 20.
Wasn't
Oh
it
no, my
4?
intelligence is just a straight +5. It doesn't add anything else. So that's 16.
So you see this, you see this kind of murky, greeny blue arm grab this tray and pull it in. And yes, you do recognize it as not a doppelganger's arm. You've just seen one of these arms. That is the arm of a Sahuagin.
Cool. Right, I'll just head downstairs now, back to the bar.
Sure. As you kind of come down, Alana's like, any trouble?
No trouble, no trouble. Do you know, Arthur, he lost an arm. I presume you noticed.
Yeah, well, he looked.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Same thing, which, that dragged him in the water and then shark got him.
Pardon? What? What are you...
Same thing.
Same thing. The shark. You saw a shark.
Something dragged him in the water. Widened my eyes, and then a shark got him.
What?
He's trying to imply.
What would you like to do? Yeah, but like, what kind of check would you like to make here?
I don't want him to be scared. I don't want him to be like anything. I don't even want him to like blatantly start talking about it because I don't want other people to know. I just want him to know that I know.
Okay. Okay. He just kind of leans back and he goes like, right. I'm not sure what you mean, but I think the table in the corner wants a drink, so let me know. And he pats you on the shoulder again, heads back to the bar.
I'll, as he's walking away, I could just go, seriously, anything you need? And I'll walk to the table.
Sure. You continue gathering drinks and blah 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 blah. Anything else on the Eartha Anya side of the coin? Actually, we'll open that up to you, Samurai, as well. The arm will be attuned to at 11 p.m. Is there anything anyone wants to do before 11 p.m?
I'll cast a message while I'm not near anybody in the middle of the dining room and whisper. I'll point it into the room so any of them hear. Try and get Anya Eartha, but if I get Abbott, so be it. And just go. See Hooligan upstairs. Not Abbott. Alarm knows.
I'll say, I think you're pretty familiar. I'll say, Eartha receives your message.
Alright. Well, I can't respond, can I?
No. Unless you cast Sending, but not really needed.
I think you can.
Not with message.
Not with message. Message, you point and then say something to that creature. That creature can only hear you, I think.
I have it. Do you want me to just grab it up quickly?
Well, it's just because in Critical Role, whenever does it require a copper wire?
A short piece of copper wire, but it has no gold value, so you can use your material. You can use your spell focus ability to do it. You point your finger towards a creature within range and whisper a message to the target, and only the target hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear.
That's what I'm thinking of, yeah. So you can give a brief response.
Is it causing any trouble?
I'll just cast it again. No trouble.
Yeah.
Alarm. Feeding it.
Leave it be.
I wasn't planning on fighting it. I just wanted you to know in case. I really was hoping it would be like an Eartha angry moment. He just rips up the entire place.
Oh, trust me, I'm currently attuning to something. Gotta wait a minute.
Yeah. And I'll just keep serving.
So you continue on as each of you have been, and yeah, at about 11:04, Eartha, as you're kind of, in conversation with Anya and Abbott, you kind of gesture, and, where, you might do that because one arm, and suddenly you go, and the other arm kind of bursts to life, and you don't feel sensation. You can feel broad sensation. You can feel like you kind of can't. You can't feel like if you slap it against a wall, you only feel like the reverberation in your stump, and not even directly on because the nerves at the end of the stump are kind of dead, but you just kind of feel the blunt. You can feel things, but in the broadest sense, not minute things. Like if you did like that, you couldn't feel like the exact, as we could, you couldn't tell exactly where something is on the arm. It's, magical, yes, but it is metal. It's kind of just like your sword is attached to you. It's a series of dead things brought to life. But yeah, it is activated and it is attuned to you, and you have full mobility of the clockwork arm.
It's pretty cool. I'm just really inspecting it kind of.
Okay. Abbott kind of brings some of the bifocals down again and kind of gives you commands, to like raise it and stuff, and he's looking over it and he's like, okay, well, it looks like the calibration has gone fine. I can't see anything wrong. It works okay. You can try drawing your sword. Do you have full motor movement how you want it?
I'll start like just moving it how I normally would. Sometimes with
Yeah,
because you said it goes all like I think it's all the way back, right?
Yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to, but you realize all the joints are two-way. So you can actually like swivel your hand backwards, stuff like that. You can bend your elbow backwards, so you can like shake someone's hand behind you. It's all the joints are double-sided and they have full mobility. So yeah, all your fingers bend backwards, your elbow bends backwards, your hand turns.
Yeah, so I'll just stand and like close my hand one way, then close it the other, and just keep doing that. I think I've got quite a lot of movement.
You are getting the hang of it perfectly. Okay, I'll try and teach you something a little bit more advanced. Okay, and he kind of grabs it and kind of pulls it towards him, and he kind of like wrenches the hand a bit, like turns the hand forcefully, kind of holding the arm and turning the hand, and you feel a bit of grinding, but you don't feel much sensation other than that. And he kind of takes a look at the joining portion, and he's like, okay, okay. And he kind of pushes you back up against the north wall, and he drags a stool down towards the south wall, and he takes a vase with flowers off the window and puts it on the stool, and he's like, okay, raise the arm, aim, kind of use the crevice in between your thumb and that index finger as kind of like an aiming, like a scope, like you use on Echo, and kind of thinking about grabbing it in your mind, thrust the arm forward.
Alright, I'll do that.
You see your hand detaches from the wrist, the two attached by a chain, and it flies forward 15 feet, where it smashes the vase into pieces, and yeah, now kind of just limply on the other side of the room. So your arm kind of gets cut off. There is just a 15-foot chain and your hand on the other side of the room. And Alan kind of, yes, perfect. Okay, now kind of imagine bringing it back and flick your wrist as though you're using a whip, something like that.
Right, okay.
And kind of that like, whoosh, kind of like that quick movement, kind of doing that, it flies back, and when you like unclick a tape measure and it very quickly like flies back to the source, the chain kind of ties back up until your hand is readjoined to the wrist. And he's like, okay, perfect. It seems to be working fine.
There's a lot I can do with that.
Well, keep me updated and try not to break it. It shouldn't break. It's magical, it's enchanted, it shouldn't be able to break unless something else magical hits it. Just don't let anything don't let any magical swords chop it in half. Try not to.
So non-magical swords
If we
are
get-
alright, but magical swords don't get hit by it.
Yes, magical items can't be destroyed by non-magical means, but magical means can destroy some magic items. Not ones that are more powerful than, but the enchantments on this aren't particularly powerful. So, a very nasty strike from a magical sword might split the chain, for example.
What if, Ellis, you make a sawn-off shotgun one-handed? Because I presume you still have motor function of the hand, while it's cast out. And
You
then
do.
you could use a shotgun while 15 feet away, because you could put it in the robot hand, shoot the arm at someone, get within 5 feet, and then shoot the shotgun.
He can't, so the chain is limp. It's not like it would be, on the ground, sideways, all fucked up. But he can, manipulate the hand. He just, it's not going to be up in the air.
Still, if it's on the floor but next to someone, you can just aim up a bit with a hand, and that's like...
Could try.
It's a nice idea.
Yes. Yeah. There would probably be a disadvantage, but it's definitely possible. And yeah, he kind of begins gathering his cloak and his satchel, and he puts it over, and he's like, well, I don't think there's anything else I can do. I think you get the idea. If you have any questions, you know where to sending me. And he puts out his left hand, so you have to meet with the clockwork arm for a handshake. And good luck.
I don't want to do that just yet, because I don't feel like I have control. I don't want to crush his
Sure.
hand.
I don't want you to crush my hand either. So he puts out the right hand.
Yeah, so I'll grab it with the right hand. I'll keep you updated. Thank you, though.
And he says, well, Anya, it's been a pleasure. Don't lose any more limbs. I don't have any more currently. Good luck.
Oh,
Call me the next time you're in town.
good luck with those schematics.
I will let you know how they go as well. And the arm can be, anti-magic zones, dispel magic. It will lose its function if magic ceases in the area, or it's targeted by a dispel magic of some kind, so be careful of that as well. Same as any other magic item. Good luck! And he walks out, and he kind of bids you farewell as well, Samara, unless there's anything else you want to say to him. And he says goodbye to Alan as well as he heads back out into the night. So Samara, at this point, are you still working? Are you clocking out at any point, or are you wanting to try and figure out any more about this Sahuagin upstairs? What's the deal?
I'm just gonna keep working, and at one point I'll just say to Alan, we need to talk after closing time.
Sure. Probably about 11ish, the bar closes, kind of last call about 11, and kind of starts to brush people out. And as he's kind of pushing people out, he'll say to you, oh, are you looking for a room tonight? Are you staying with us? There are free rooms.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to stay. I mean, I always enjoy being here, but we need to talk about that.
I think we do, Samura. I appreciate you, but it's
We do.
none of your business.
I understand that, and I appreciate that, but so often does not sit right with being somewhere where you can perish.
You've done it before, for several nights.
I'll walk away. I'll just walk to meet Anya and Eartha at that point while he's closing.
As you kind of walk away suddenly, he goes Samura, and he takes off the dish towel, kind of chucks it on the counter. That night, you first stayed here, you and your friends. Having her upstairs may have saved us our lives, if you understand my meaning.
So that's what's happened that night.
Yes. Forgive me for not telling you at the time, but as you're reacting now, it seemed like more of an invitation for problems than a solution.
Well, there are better solutions than your solution, is my only thought, and I am happy to help you achieve them, if that's financially or physically.
He kind of like puts an arm around you and kind of walks with you towards the fireplace. Oshala is a gentle example of her race. I'm sorry some of her more zealous brethren aggravated and injured Eartha, but Oshala isn't one of them. She's left them behind. She lives on land. I make sure she stays alive. I feed her. I keep her hydrated. She is harmless, except for when, like you saw, enemies invade this place.
So, out of game, Samara has two choices here. Be racist, or not be racist.
Sure. To be fair, you've seen Sahugans once, and they tore your friend's arm off. So it's not... Yeah.
It's not quite as plain and simple. But I'll turn to Alon and go, look, I understand. As a birdman, walking around every major city on the continent for the most part, and yes, I am over-exaggerating, I get a lot of weird looks, and I get a lot of presumptions. So I understand that you are most likely correct. I'm sorry for second-guessing that, but it is very weird, and it is very unsafe, because, no offense, I haven't seen anything from you proving that you could stop her.
Samura, I have no reason to stop her. I invited her here.
And the plot thickens?
Okay. He kind of looks around. People have left, and he's like, I've told you half of it. I might as well tell you the full thing, so take a seat. And he goes to get some drinks. And he kind of, gives you another roll rum, and he sits himself with one, except he hasn't put the sugar on his own. And he takes a quick drink. She was exiled from her kingdom beneath the waves for plotting a coup against her king. She's a priestess of Sekola, their strange shark god, but she doesn't engage with her people anymore. She was attempting to overthrow some tyrant in the depths, and she was exiled. She found her way to Baldur's Gate. She needed help, and we found an arrangement.
Look, it's not my business. I'm not going to say, do this, do that. You can understand my shock factor, my disturbance. It is strange. If it's been working for this long, it shouldn't fail. I am with you on that one. This is probably a very safe thing. But also, I've seen Urfer snap. I've never seen Anya snap. And I've snapped plenty of times, in reasons where you probably shouldn't. I thought a man had killed Jade, and I ripped him apart with my magic. Turns out, he didn't. Bit of a regret.
You notice Alon, his eyes kind of flick to the side, and you see a bit of carpet pulled over where you burnt a hole in the floor with acid when you melted a cultist. And he's like, really?
So, you can't blame me for worrying if somebody chooses to snap, no matter who that is. If you ain't strong enough, you aren't strong enough. There's not a second way about that.
I appreciate your concern deeply, but you're not the only friends I have of the adventuring ilk. You are but one of a few groups that frequent this place. There is always someone here stronger than me, besides from Clanken's schooner, who are here most of the day and night anyway. But I do appreciate your worry. I assure you, there is nothing to worry about, though I understand some of her probably former brethren ripped your friend's arm off yesterday. I understand your hesitance. I'm not saying I don't understand your hesitance, but I appreciate your understanding. But Oshala is gentle, and unlike others of her kind, I will talk to her and see if she will greet you, but I doubt it. You know, sometimes I've told her not to, but once the tavern is closed, in the deep, deep night, sometimes she leaves the room, wanders around. And actually, we're now in another episode of did that happen, or was that something I caught?
I nearly caught her, or Eartha nearly caught her in the middle of the night when we first stayed here.
I think so, but also, I believe, and I might be completely wrong. I don't think I am. This might have been in an early draft of the original session, and it might have gotten cut. Tell me if any of this sounds familiar. So, there are two. One of them was working tonight, but he said the other one was sick. Fulton and Yimio. They are two young men who are serving boys. They do what you've been doing. Session 1. One of them found an earring on the ground and asked Anya if it belonged to her.
I don't recognize that.
And Anya was like, no, it's not my earring. Then, in the middle of the night, Anya heard movement outside her door, and someone had put the earrings outside her door. But Fulton and Yimio don't live here. So, logically, they would have been gone by that point. So, probably just from a mix of Samura, you messaged Eartha. Eartha probably would have told Abbott and Anya. Anya, I'll say, just because that was a long time ago, and I don't really expect anyone to remember a really minor detail like that. That probably jogs a memory of that. And I think either Eartha or Samura, you did hear movement as well. Actually, you know what it might have been? I think.
I checked upstairs,
someone,
and I think I caught a glimpse, but I couldn't tell any features of whatever
that
it was.
was it. That was it. I think I had you all make a perception check because she was going to Anya's room, but Anya was asleep. She didn't hear it. And then I think you heard it and you looked out the door and you caught a glimpse of that door closing, that bedroom door closing. I think that was it. We did it. We figured it out. So yes, Anya, you might not have those anymore. They weren't yours. So, I'll leave that up to you. Headcanon, whether you still have those earrings or not. But, you have no idea why she did that. But, maybe she thought, maybe she'd overheard something and thought the earrings were yours. And later that night, she found the other one and put them outside your door. Or maybe, a number of other things. You really don't know. And, Samurai, you're definitely still suspicious of this Oshala. So, yeah.
I'll just sit along. It's starting to add up, though, because I thought I'd seen some strange things that night after the fight. But, honestly, my initial reaction may have been a bit strong. It's whatever. You clearly trust her, and I trust you, so everything should be alright. Although, if you don't mind, I'm definitely locking my door, and you don't have to ask anything else.
It's totally fine. And he, he hands you your key and 2 more for Anya and Eartha, and he's like, but I'm going to bed, so same rooms as last time, you can spread them out however you like, but good night, rest easy, everything is fine.
Good night. I'll go into the other thing, and I'll throw Anya the key of the small room. I'll keep the key of the small room. I'll throw the big room to Eartha and go, just because he's missing an arm, well, he's missing a real arm.
Sure.
Disabled people get big beds.
fucking mint. Well,
And yes. So do you guys head to bed? What's the plan?
I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna toy with the arm a bit more, like see if I can like grab stuff with it, see if I can use it to like grapple things and like pull myself up, that kind of a thing.
Sure.
Like Batman, you know,
Sure.
when like shit, there was a grapple up and he's like.
With the last day on the boat as well, I had done no, it was Jade's. On the last day of the boat, I'd done the first of 4 days enchanting Jade's little emblem with shield. So before I go to bed, I'll spend 4 hours, which is going to put me deep into the night, doing the next day of Jade's emblem.
I don't know that Jade can attune to magic items.
Then can we call it?
Is this an attunement?
Yes.
Is this an attunement one? Because the
It's not an
Yeah.
attunement
the
one.
shield of shields that has the same enchantment on is an attunement.
I don't think it's attunement. Well, I never
It
intended
isn't
it to be.
I
mean,
I don't
it
know
doesn't
that
matter.
Jade can use a magic item.
if she's sentient, this could be a good way of testing it.
Sure.
I'll
So
do it to
when
Earth
would
first.
you complete that?
I'll do it to Earth as because we're going to bed at 11. I believe it's 4 hours. I could be wrong. I'm just going to say it is because so that'll be 3 a.m. and then I'll just short rest to avoid exhaustion.
Let's see what happens.
Fair enough.
Yes. So yeah, you finish that, and yeah, you guys go to sleep, and wake up the next morning. You know, Eartha, you spend some hours playing with it. You know, shooting at the roof, grabbing a beam, pulling yourself up, stuff like that. You know, it's pretty versatile, pretty strong. Yeah, you know, you can grab things from afar. You can pull yourself. You know, assuming the thing you're grabbing is strong enough, you can pull yourself forward. Yeah, blah 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 blah. So you guys, you know, you all finish a long rest, even though some of you stay up a bit late. You know, you can clutch a long rest. Yeah. What are you guys doing day 2? What's the plan? You're back in Baldur's Gate. You spent the night.
Riverlyn.
What's the plan? Riverlyn.
River of
There
the
you go.
Lins.
Sure.
Before we leave the Elfsong Tavern, I want to wrap my armor in like bandages, so not to
Okay.
draw like attention to myself. If that makes sense.
I will say, if you put your armor on, your armor will cover it, or would you like to like stay in your
Well,
travel?
let's be honest. That arm from that armor is gone. That would have been with the arm in the ocean. So I don't have
Sure,
that
fair
anyway.
enough.
So I'll have the rest of the armor with that wrapped up.
Fair enough. Yeah, cool.
It's a surprise for my
That
brother.
looks pretty.
It's gonna be a surprise. I'm gonna stand there and watch this with bandages on, and shoot it out and grab something.
Yeah, and you know, so this now. I don't remember who observed it, but yeah, this is an example of one of those marbles Damon had left coming to pass. So that might, you know,
was me.
that-
The one with the arm.
Yeah.
That was
yes.
me.
So that might get the other two thinking other marbles.
I can't remember. I can't remember one of the others. But I think
Can't remember.
know what
I
that's
remember-
gonna be.
I remember the girl.
Yeah, that's
It was a
gonna be the word.
Girl, flowers in her hair, getting married to. Can't
No, it
remember
was
what
it
the
was
man
a
looked
different
like.
girl, wasn't it? The image was like the vision was of a different girl
Who looks?
She had,
while
like-
there was a wedding going on, and
Mhm.
that girl is going to be the sister of the guy who stole the key.
Oh, Verona.
Didn't the guy who stole the key have a sister or a brother who was like
It was
involved in the
It
citadel?
was a sister who was pregnant.
Verona.
You know
Verona.
who the girl at the wedding was.
Verona.
Oh, okay.
Verona.
No, you know the girl in the vision was the little girl you met selling flowers.
Oh yeah, we did know that. Yeah. You know,
I'm gonna go
Um,
interrogate her.
And then the other one had Maya in it. Is it Maya?
maybe she's
Yes.
a key.
Maya
He got
Bormal, who you
stabbed.
met at- Yeah, so Anya had spent, you know, at the party you guys had scattered. Anya had met a young noblewoman from House Bormul, Bormul, called Maya Bormul. They kind of come from Ammon, which is like a southern sandy country. And yeah, you'd kind of talk to her for a bit, and then in this vision, I believe you were in the perspective of someone who saw someone looked like they had like wings or something like that stab Maya. Looks like she like took a stab for whoever's eyes were being looked
Did
through.
that not happen? Was that not
I don't believe so.
Was that not Damien?
In the underground.
Your guys' theory was it was Damon, but Maya never
Yeah.
met Damon.
Anyways, because we don't fucking clue what that is.
I think Anya had a theory for a minute that it was Samurai. So everyone keep your eyes.
Yeah.
I'm a murderer.
You are. We all are.
I am.
Yeah.
Riverland?
So, anything else anyone wants to do, or is it just Riverland?
After Riverland, I want to go to the market, but I want to go alone.
Okay. Then. Cool. So, you guys, you head downstairs. You see Alan is kind of cleaning up. Him and Clank are cleaning up. Schooner's tapped out for the morning. Not much need to have 2 bodyguards in the morning, especially one you have to pay, bouncers rather. But Clank being a suit of armor, it's just kind of sweeping, mopping up, cleaning up, and Alan is kind of doing some light dusting and then just kind of sitting down, chilling out, letting Clank do most of the work. And he kind of shouts over to you, "Good morning," as you all come down the stairs. And he kind of stands up, slings the tea towel over his shoulder. Are you, by any chance, looking for work, or do you have business that's got your attention?
I've got nothing else.
I'll turn to the other two and go, well, I mean, the 2 things I've got to do, I've just got to go talk to someone, and then I'm going to run to the market for some stuff. I'll get into no bother. If you want, you 2 could get a job started on it, and I can join you afterwards.
I'll turn to Anya and see what her response is going to be.
Say yeah, because
Every door
Got-
helps.
do.
So, Samurai, are you just running out, going to Riverland?
Yeah, taking Jade, since just
Yeah, sure.
important.
There's kind of like a moment between Clank and Jade. Jade's kind of looking at Clank. Clank doesn't really seem to be reciprocating it, but gives like a wave. And Jade kind of like puts a hand on the mace, kind of moves around in a wide berth, follows you out the door. Yeah, so you head towards Sorceress Sundries, Riverland Blackhand's magical shop. And yeah, Alan kind of motions for Earth and Anya for you guys to sit. Quite a while now there's been slayings in the shantytown outside the city. A lot of the poorer residents of Baldur's Gate that live outside the city's walls have been targeted by some kind of killer or killers.
A Ripper?
Of sorts. He's garnered the name the Green-Cloak Killer from the scared folk outside the walls, and the kingpin of Little Calamshan, one of the shanty towns, is offering a sizable bounty. It seems the Flaming Fist aren't really doing anything about it, since it hasn't so far affected anyone inside the city walls. The shanty towns aren't technically... The residents of the shanty towns aren't citizens of Baldur's Gate in their reckoning, so they don't really police those areas. But, if you're looking for work or looking to do some good, I'm sure the kingpin of Little Calamshan will gladly offer you work.
So you want us to become detectives?
You've done everything else. Why not try your hand at this?
Yeah, sure, I'm down. I'll turn to Anya to see what she thinks of becoming detectives.
Why not?
Well, detectives of the shanties.
Holmes and Watson, in a case.
So.
Oh, that fits in perfectly. Batman with a grappling hook. Now
World's
Batman's a
greatest
detective. Now I'm a detective with a grappling hook.
Now you need a battle round.
I don't need Baron because I'm dumb.
So, Eartha and Anya, what are you guys? Are you guys heading to Little Kalimshan, or are you going somewhere else?
Do you want to head straight? Well, we're gonna have to go find the Kingpin, right?
Yeah, because we kind of need the description of what we're looking for, and also just of
A
where
crime
is.
scene.
Yeah, and where his whereabouts. Well, not whereabouts exactly, but where he was last seen.
Yeah, sure.
So, you would know, Little Kalimshan does kind of stand out from the other shanty towns. It is the only shanty town to have its own walls. The Kalashite residents of Little Kalimshan have kind of dug themselves in, built like these brick and plaster walls around their shanty town, and patrolled gate and things like that to keep outsiders out. And you would also know that's where Verona is from. Verona was Kalashite, and Uriel had met her in Baldur's Gate, because she's from here. But other than that, you don't really have any connection to. You don't really know much more about Little Kalimshan, other than the use of the word kingpin is. Goblin Benny was the kingpin of something, and the whiskey lady was the kingpin of Mannerborn. So this Rilsa person, Rilsa Rael, is also a representative of the guild that represents the Little Kalimshan neighborhood. So you guys can head towards Little Kalimshan. You have to head out of the main city gate and through a bit of the shanty towns, past the stables, and it's very easy to find, it being walled and such. But yeah, Samura, you're going to Sorcerer's Sundries. You arrive. So just to remind you how it looks. A fairly squat building, but quite wide, circular shape, and the roof is a dome of stained glass. But it's a tall, round shop, and the different coloured stained glass roof casts chaotic shafts of colour down across several open-air floors that rise upon wooden pillars connected by staircases and ladders. It's very chaotic looking inside. Instead of just having like 2 or 3 floors, it's got these wooden platforms on top of pillars, and you have to climb ladders or walk upstairs to get to each platform. The living quarters upstairs teem with rare plants and bookcases. The bottom floor acts as one of the most popular magic shops in the city. Inside its delicate-looking but magically warded walls, customers can buy and sell all manner of curios and common magic items from the eccentric shopkeeper Rivelin Blackhand, a human mage with a withered right hand. Pretty gaunt guy, long black hair, kind of a sharp black goatee. As you enter with Jade, he's kind of like, "I'll be just one moment, Samura," and your companion. "Hello, how have you been?" And he kind of moseys on from behind the counter.
Yes, great, good. You've done plentiful since we've last seen you. There's just one. It's not an issue, but it's weird, to say the least. Just very weird.
Okay.
I think Jade's sentient.
That's not really something that's within the parameters of the spell.
Yeah, but I don't think it's your spell which did it. She was in this woods near an ancient... Basically, to track down my father, we went to this ancient dragon tomb, and there was like 8 dead dragons in there. We've got a dormant white dragon egg. It's on our for. We've got also. It's very magical place. And then like couple miles, maybe double digits. I'm not sure. Just thinking about it, in the woods, and then deep into the woods, Jade was at this reservoir, and it was beautiful water, clear as day, and this like translucent mug, chalice, and I'll grab it off Jade because she'll still have it stuffed in her face hole most likely.
Yeah.
I'll hand it to him, and ever since she's had this, and I had a feeling there was a creature there, but I don't know what the creature will be. And she cannot go without that. She sometimes, if there's something she doesn't like, she'll put her hand on the mace, or if we're training her to use the mace, she'll put her hand on the mace and look at me for permission as if she's like asking, without even my thought, if she can kill that guy. I'd be happy if she's conscious, but I'd like to know.
I can run some tests. They will take a few hours to be conclusive. You can stay if you wish, or you can go about your day, and I will contact you when I'm complete. Whatever you prefer.
I'm gonna nip to the market. I've got this nice surprise for Arthur, and I need to get Anya something for her birthday too. So I'll nip out, nip back. If you're not done, I might sit and chat.
That sounds perfectly fine. I will, yes, go about your day. I will do some tests. He's kind of poking Jade, and Jade just kind of like swivels the helmet. And he's like, interesting. Yes. On your way. I'll contact you.
As I walk up the door, I'll turn to Jade and go, "Be good for him. He made you."
She kind of swivels around, looks at both of you. She kind of like relaxes, kind of nods slightly, and yeah. So you're going to the market, yeah? You head up to the upper city. You've probably still got your watch token that you kind of flash and lets you through the gate into the upper city. Yeah, and you're heading to the Wide, where the market is. What would you like to find?
I want to find a leather, so not metal, because I want to be a bit more like adjustable, even though leather won't be that adjustable. Leather. Like arm all the way up to the shoulder, not including the shoulder, but up to the shoulder and not including the hand. Eartha's arm.
Describe it to me one more time.
It needs to be like a leather gauntlet, basically, going all the way from his wrist to his shoulder. Presumably not including the shoulder. I don't know exactly at what point Ellis's armor is cut off at. But wherever Eartha's arm has cut off, down to the wrist. I don't want it to cover the hand, so he can still use it.
Okay, sure. Kind of like an extended, like a sleeve. Okay.
Yeah. But it's a bit of armor still for him.
Sure. Yeah. I'll say make an investigation check. With a DC of 15.
I'm gonna use inspiration.
If you like. Below 15, you have to kind of ask like a tanner, like a leather worker, to kind of whip something up for you. If you get 15 or above, you can find something you can kind of repurpose into it.
I'm gonna inspiration.
Was it a natural one?
It was a natural one. Inspiration gives me 16, so just.
Then yes, you find something at some tanner's shop that you think can be repurposed into what you need with some minor alterations that they happily do for, 10 gold altogether. And then yes, you have what you're looking for.
Can I get them to just whack a coat of red paint on if they have it, and if they don't, I'll take it somewhere else.
Sure, with dyes and stuff and magic, we'll say yes, it's red. It's like a red leather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that 10 gold?
Yes.
Cool. Now, I want to find like a pendant necklace.
Okay. Anything specific?
It just needs to be one of the ones which can like flip open and have a little picture inside.
Like a locket.
Yeah, that's the word. Like a picture. I want a picture on the inside, like the side which would be against your chest, and the bit which swivels to be like a mirror.
Yeah. So are you looking for like a new one, or do you want to find like a second-hand one that's got like some old picture in it that you want to like take out, or do you want like a new?
Hopefully, like I want a new one which hasn't been used before. But
Sure.
like, I don't want to get it like custom made or anything. Just whatever.
Yeah.
Got, but nice.
You find a jeweler eventually who's like, "How can I help, sir? Birdman?"
Yeah. Do you have a locket there? A picture on one side, mirror on the other?
Lockets, of course. For a special lady. Kind of.
A close friend.
Well, very good. Is this all right? We have several others. She shows you kind of a. They have three different designs. They're all the same. Slot for a small picture on the inside and a mirror on the other side, but the actual outside changes. One kind of is just kind of plain oval shape, brass, but gold colored, with some like light enameling on, like a little pattern around the sides. The other one is in the shape of an acorn, with like the hexing on the top of the acorn, and the other one is in the shape of a very broadly, not super detailed, but enough so you can tell is in the shape of a ship.
Know what you're looking for.
So there's the ship one. I feel like the ship one for Anya doesn't make the most sense. Because if anything, it's going to remind her of the fake story of her parents' death. Since they apparently died at sea in the fake story.
No, they just died on an adventure.
Died.
In the fake story.
Oh.
Dead.
Well, still, then it's got no relevance in that case, so it's kind of...
The only slight relevance is the symbol of Waterdeep is a ship, but that's, doesn't really...
Yeah, remind me of the other two. I was focused on the ship quite a lot there.
Just an oval, an engraved oval, and an acorn.
I'll get the oval, just the plain one.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Sure.
Then, I need to go get 100. I need to go get 250 gold piece gems.
First of all, that will cost another 10 gold pieces.
That's fine.
And then yes. So you want 2 gems with 50 gold pieces, did you say?
Yes, and tell me if I'm wrong, but 10 silver pieces is a gold piece, isn't it?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna convert some coins. I'm gonna convert 60 silver into 6 gold?
Yes. Sure, you can find a banker, who will do a quick trade with you.
Which gives me exactly 100 gold. And I'm gonna go get 2 50 gold piece gems.
Okay, yeah, any preference on the gems?
As long as they're precious gems, I couldn't give a shit.
You find a ruby and a pearl.
Cool. I'm gonna run back to the Elf Song Tavern.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna just do this short form, because it'll take ages otherwise. I'm gonna go into my room, teleportation circle.
Okay.
I'm going to whatever her name's shop is in Waterdeep.
You're going to the Aurora's Emporium.
Aurora's Emporium in Waterdeep.
Okay.
Yes.
How long does teleportation circle take to cast?
A minute.
A minute. So you draw the teleportation circle in chalk on the floor of your room in the Elf Song Tavern. You draw the runes, the circles, and you arrive in the back room of Aurora's Emporium.
Yeah. So there's one of my gems gone. I'm gonna go straight to Anya's house. Talk to her parents.
The door.
Weird.
What do you say, Brad?
The door is locked.
Fantastic. I pick the lock.
Just break.
Make a dexterity check with disadvantage.
Do you have thieves' tools?
No. But,
I'm just
having
having pity on him. You could probably find these tools, but yeah, they sell them. Disadvantage, dexterity.
Dexterity. That is 9.
Yep. Door is locked.
Cool. I send him. It's not Aurora because that's a dead woman's name. Lelianor. To be like, please, I'm trying to do something really nice right now. Can you come to Waterdeep just to unlock the door?
She shows up. She's like, okay, hi. If you want to use them, that's fine. Just some warning would be cool. And then she unlocks the door and she's like, but it's fine. But yeah. And yeah.
Cool. I'll apologize and just be like, it was a silly mistake. Just like, if you've got like 5 minutes. I'm in a rush. I'm in a real rush. Just 5 minutes. I've just got to run down to Anya's house, get
I'll
a
wait.
small picture, and I'm gonna go to a house and try and get a picture of like, I'm gonna say like, it's our birthday coming up, and I want to get her this locket with a picture of you to her and to give to her.
Sure. Sure. You explain the situation to her aunt and uncle, and you're trying to get a picture of her aunt and uncle, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. You explain the situation. They're like, oh, okay, and like the aunt kind of stumbles off to kind of try and find some. Oh, you know what? What skill is equal to luck? Samurai, just roll a d20.
3.
Great, cool. You knock on the door, and you don't hear an answer, and you're like looking around. You look up at the sun. You realize it's like 10 a.m. and they're definitely at work.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna cast sending to the auntie.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, look, bro. I'll just explain basically.
Sure. Yeah, it takes like 20 minutes, but the auntie shows up and she's like, I think I have something that might work.
I'll just be like profusely apologizing during this time.
She's like, it's fine, it's very nice. And she's like unlocking the door and she's looking around. She goes up into her bedroom. She's looking at her jewelry box and stuff. She finds a picture and it's kind of too big. And she finds another one and she's like, oh, this one, it's the smallest one she has, but it's slightly too big, but you think you could cut it down to the right size.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, thank you. And she's like, okay, yeah, no worries. And you run off and you get back to the Emporium and Lilinore's like, you said you'd be 5 minutes. It's been like half an hour.
I'm really sorry. Look, I've had a terrible day. This is awful. I'll empty my pockets. There's 4 silver and 11 copper, and be like, genuinely, this is all I have.
I don't want your money. It's fine. It's fine. Keep your change. Just like it's fine. Just like next time, just message me and I can help.
I'll be like, just still profusely apologizing while doing all this, and being like, right, I'll be able to teleport myself back to Baldur's Gate. I need to sleep off some of this shit and get some spells. Once again, I'm sorry. If you lock the door and just leave me in here, I'm literally just gonna lie on the floor and take a power nap.
Okay, she locks the door and she heads back to work. She's like, okay, I'll talk to you later.
I'm then gonna send in Riverland and be like, I've really fucked up. I'm like 4, maybe 5 hours out. I'm really sorry. I'll be back. And then I'm gonna go to sleep.
Riverland's like, no problem. Yeah, we need to talk when you get back.
I'm gonna include in the sending that I'm using his teleportation circle. That's where I'm going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. That is fine. Thank you for letting me know. Very polite. Yes, but we need get back as soon as you can. We need to discuss. Yes. I'll see you when you return.
I want it fully known that I completely forgot that shit wasn't a ritual spell, and now I have to sleep 4 hours to get a spell slot back with Arcane Recovery. I only have one.
I was literally thinking, like, how's he gonna use it again? I thought you were gonna ask Aurora to take you back, Lilienor, but then I was like, but there isn't a thing in Baldur's Gate that she knows.
Yeah.
So,
I got there, and that's why literally at one point in the camera I just go like, just a hand over my face entirely.
So, excellent. You sleep for 4 hours, and while that's happening, Eartha and Anya, you head out of Basilisk Gate, I think. You pass the Garenmore stables and Menagerie, where Ubis Garenmore had been gathering, monstrosities for his menagerie, and also where you'd stabled some of your horses first time around. You head through the shanty towns, and during the day it's quite busy, but knowing what you imagine at night, people are locking themselves up, afraid, like London when Jack the Ripper was out, like the Zodiac Killer, people are scared to be out at night alone. But during the day, people as you go past begging you for money, so on and so forth. People going to their various crappy jobs within and without the city. And eventually, pretty quickly, you arrive at Little Calamshan, very easily defined by its, its walls. If you were to actually, while I'm just again for the sake of stuff, I'll send you a. I'll put in the group chat an image of Little Calamshan so you can picture it better. So these what you see as you approach. From general thing, it built and home to Kalashite refugees fleeing war in the south, and essentially the people of Baldur's Gate were just like, we don't want you here, leave. They arrived in the harbour by ship, and they just got pushed out of the city gates, and that's where they settled. Starting as a caravanserai and ending up as a kind of like an independent town in its own right. Not a good relationship between the Baldurians of Baldur's Gate and the Kalashites of Little Calamshan. This one, unlike most of the other outer city neighborhoods that kind of bleed into each other, there's not really a defining line between where one ends and the other begins. This one is obviously very defined, sharply defined by brick and plaster walls, 15 feet tall, 5 feet thick, and topped with minarets in the classical Kalashite style. These walls also have a practical purpose. There are walls within the walls, so it's not just an outer wall. There are kind of walls between mini neighborhoods within Little Calamshan that act as elevated walkways. These neighborhoods are called Drudoks. You see guarding the entrance, the main gate, and you can see patrolling inside. There are like a private guard called Amlakars, who are kind of wear Kalashite armor, desert armor, and they carry scimitars instead of the spears of the guards around Baldur's Gate. As you arrive, there are two of these Amlakars, each with two scimitars sheathed to their sides at the gate. And as you approach, one of them kind of holds up their hand, and he's like, Baldurians, no entrance into Little Calamshan, turn around.
We're here. Well, first off, I'm not a Baldurian, or whatever you call me. Second off, we're here about the murders. We're looking for the Kingpin to try and help you solve.
Where are you from?
Me? I'm from Tracenta. Said with more confidence.
Okay.
Because I've forgotten.
She is your friend.
Yes, this is Anya. She's from Waterdeep.
He kind of spits into the dust. Fine.
You're from
Go.
Waterdeep, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, just double checking. Had a bit of a panic.
I thought you were disrespecting where I was from. I thought that's why he was.
Definitely is.
What?
You can find Rilsa up on the walkways. Be quick about it.
Shall I try
Thank
it?
you.
So you guys enter Little Calamshan, looking for Rilsa Rael, the kingpin of this neighborhood. And so you take a quick nap, power nap, to gain your spell slots back, and we will end it there, and pick up tomorrow.